Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you love captivating stories about men transforming into women in unique and fascinating ways, then be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Now, let's jump right into today's tale.
Tyler Brooks found the obsidian stone wedged between a cracked clay pot and what appeared to be a fertility idol with anatomically generous proportions, which pretty much summed up his Uncle Raymond's entire collection. Uncle Raymond had been what polite relatives called eccentric, and what everyone else called that weird guy who probably got cursed at least 3 times. He'd spent 40 years traveling to every remote location that would have him, collecting artifacts that ranged from legitimately ancient to obviously purchased from a gift shop next to a subway. When he died, choking on a grape, which seemed almost insulting given all the dangerous places he'd been, Tyler inherited everything, including a warehouse in the industrial district that smelled like mothballs, regret, and possibly mummified cats. "Congratulations on your inheritance," the lawyer had said, handing over keys with an expression suggesting he knew exactly what was in that warehouse and felt sorry for Tyler. Most of it was junk. Pottery shards that might have been ancient or might have been from someone's backyard. Old coins worth less than their metal content. Tourist trinkets with "Made in China" stamps carefully filed off. Tyler had spent 3 weekends cataloging it all, growing increasingly convinced his uncle had been conned more often than a rural widow on Facebook. But the obsidian stone was different. It sat on a shelf marked Guatemala 1987 in his uncle's shaky handwriting. Perfectly spherical, about the size of a baseball, polished to a mirror finish so flawless it seemed impossible. Dark as midnight with crimson veins running through it like frozen lightning. When Tyler picked it up, it felt warm, almost alive, pulsing with a heat that seemed to come from within. "What the hell?" Tyler muttered, turning it over in his hands. The surface was completely seamless, no indication of how it had been made or even what tools could achieve this level of precision. There was a note attached with yellowed tape, written in his uncle's handwriting. "Mayan possession stone allows the holder to inhabit another's body. Use with extreme caution. Proximity required. Effects last until stone is released. P.S. I know you'll think I'm full of shit, but I tested this. It works. Don't do anything stupid. Who am I kidding? Your family. You'll definitely do something stupid." Tyler laughed, a sharp, cynical bark that echoed in the warehouse. "Jesus, Raymond, you really committed to the bit, didn't you?" His uncle had probably bought it from some con artist in a Guatemala city market, paid way too much, and then invented this whole story to justify the expense. The note was dated 1987, which meant Raymond had been carrying this delusion for nearly 40 years. Still, the stone was beautiful, genuinely gorgeous in a way that made Tyler's fingers tingle when he held it. Worth keeping as a curiosity, if nothing else. Maybe even worth selling to some new age crystal enthusiast who'd pay good money for authentic Mayan artifacts. Tyler wrapped it carefully in bubble wrap and took it home to his apartment. That night, after a dinner consisting of leftover pizza and the crushing awareness of his own mediocrity, Tyler sat on his couch and examined the stone more closely. The crimson veins seemed to pulse faintly, like a heartbeat. Or maybe that was just his imagination, fueled by his uncle's ridiculous note and too much cheap beer. The surface was so perfectly polished he could see his reflection, Tyler Brooks, 26, average looking on good days and below average on honest ones, stuck in a dead-end job doing data entry for an insurance company. His dating life consisted of awkward app conversations that went nowhere. Hey, followed by ghosting. His last actual date had been 8 months ago, ending with her saying, "I think we're better as friends," before they'd even finished their appetizers. His sex life was entirely pornographic, conducted with his right hand and an incognito browser. He held the stone and studied his reflection. Brown hair that was thinning even though he was only 26, a jaw that wasn't quite defined enough, eyes that were an unremarkable hazel, a body that was skinny in the wrong places and soft in the worst places. What would it be like to be someone else? He wondered aloud. Someone attractive, successful, desired. The stone grew warmer in his hand, noticeably warmer, enough that he almost dropped it. Tyler felt a strange pull, like the stone was inviting him, offering him something. Like it was saying, "Go ahead, try me, what's the worst that could happen?" Famous last words, he thought. He lived alone in a fairly shitty apartment building in a fairly shitty part of town, but his neighbor across the hall was a woman named Sienna. Early 20s, absolutely gorgeous, with an incredible body that seemed specifically designed to haunt his masturbatory fantasies. Long dark hair, face like a model, curves that made yoga pants look like formal wear. He'd fantasized about her constantly, in the shower, in bed, once memorably during a particularly boring conference call. They'd exchanged maybe 20 words total. "Hi, sorry about the noise. Could you sign for this package?" The usual neighbor pleasantries that barely qualified as human interaction. The note said proximity was required. Tyler's apartment and Sienna's shared a wall. He could hear her sometimes, music, phone conversations, the occasional rhythmic thumping that he tried very hard not to think about but absolutely thought about. "This is insane," he said to his empty apartment. "The stone couldn't actually work. Possession isn't real. Magic isn't real. Uncle Raymond was just a crazy old man who watched too much X-Files." But he held the stone tighter and thought about Sienna. Sienna with her perfect face. Sienna with her incredible body. Sienna who probably had a dozen guys messaging her right now, offering to take her to dinner, to worship her, to do anything she wanted. What would it feel like to be desired like that, to have that body, to experience the world from behind those eyes? The stone flared hot in his hand, painfully hot, like he'd grabbed a coal from a fire. Tyler's vision went black. When sensation returned, everything was different. The first thing Tyler noticed was balance, wrong, all wrong. His center of gravity had shifted, pulled forward by weight on his chest. He stumbled, caught himself against something, and his hand looked wrong. Small, delicate, feminine fingers with nails painted crimson. "What the fuck?" The voice that came out wasn't his. Soft, feminine, with a slight rasp that would have been sexy if he wasn't having a complete mental breakdown. Tyler looked down and saw breasts. Large, full breasts straining against a thin white tank top, no bra, nipples visible through the fabric. A narrow waist. Wide hips in gray yoga pants that clung to every curve. Slender arms. Smooth, tan skin. He was standing in a different room, Sienna's apartment, which he recognized from the one time she'd left her door open while carrying in groceries. Same layout as his, but decorated like an actual adult lived there, with plants and artwork and furniture that hadn't been salvaged from a curb. Tyler raised his hands, saw those delicate feminine fingers, those manicured nails. He touched his face, felt soft skin, high cheekbones, full lips. "Holy shit, holy fucking shit," Sienna's voice saying his words. He stumbled to the bathroom, shoulder bouncing off the doorframe because he'd misjudged the width of these hips, and looked in the mirror. Sienna stared back. Her face, high cheekbones, full lips, perfect nose, large dark eyes. Her hair, long and dark and slightly messy like she'd just woken up. Her body in a tank top and yoga pants. But when he moved, she moved. When he touched his face, she touched hers. When he opened his mouth, hers opened. "Oh my God," Tyler whispered. It worked. It actually fucking worked. Tyler was possessing her, controlling her body completely. Sienna, the real Sienna, wherever her consciousness was, seemed completely absent. He was alone in here, operating her body like a puppet. Except it didn't feel like a puppet. It felt real. He could feel everything, the air on his skin, the fabric of the tank top against his nipples, the yoga pants hugging his ass, the way his hair brushed his shoulders. Tyler explored the body with trembling hands. He cupped the breasts carefully, almost reverently. They were heavy, soft, real. The sensation of touching them sent pleasure through his chest, not sexual exactly, but pleasant. His nipples hardened at the touch, pressing against his palms through the thin tank top. Even through the fabric, they were incredibly sensitive, sparking little jolts of pleasure when he brushed them. "Jesus Christ," he breathed, watching Sienna's face in the mirror react to his touch. His hands moved down. Over the flat stomach, he could feel abs under the soft skin, over the narrow waist, over the curved hips that flared out dramatically. Everything felt different, softer, more sensitive, like his nerve endings had multiplied. Between his legs, he felt different anatomy. No cock pressing against fabric. No balls. Instead, soft fabric pressed against female anatomy, and even through the yoga pants, he could feel warmth and softness. Tyler's heart was pounding. This was wrong on so many levels. Violation, invasion, consent issues that would require a legal team to unpack. But he'd already gone this far. With shaking hands, Tyler hooked his thumbs into the waistband of the yoga pants and pulled them down. Black panties underneath, lacy, expensive looking. He pulled those down too. And there it was, Sienna's pussy. Neatly trimmed dark hair, soft labia, everything pink and feminine and real. Tyler touched it carefully. The sensation was immediate and intense. His fingers found soft folds, already moistening from arousal he hadn't even realized he was feeling. When he brushed against what had to be his clit, electricity shot through his entire body. "Oh fuck," he gasped, gripping the bathroom counter with his free hand. Tyler sat on the edge of the bathtub and explored more boldly. He stroked the outer lips, velvety soft, plump, sensitive, traced the inner folds, slick with arousal, textured, warm. Circled his clit with growing pressure, each touch sending sparks of pleasure radiating through his body. His other hand slipped under the tank top and played with his breasts, rolling the nipples between his fingers, squeezing the soft flesh, feeling how responsive they were. The pleasure built differently than male arousal. Slower, more diffuse, spreading through his entire body in warm waves instead of concentrating in his groin. It was like the difference between a laser pointer and a floodlight, less focused but covering so much more area. Tyler slipped a finger inside his vagina. The penetration felt natural and good, the tight heat enveloping his finger, the textured walls, the sensation of being filled. He pumped it slowly, exploring the inside, finding spots that felt especially good when he pressed on them. He added a second finger. The stretch was noticeable but not uncomfortable. He pumped them slowly while his thumb circled his clit, establishing a rhythm that built the pleasure higher and higher. The orgasm built gradually, tension coiling in his core, pleasure radiating outward, his breathing getting faster and faster. Then it crashed over him all at once. Tyler's vagina clenched around his fingers rhythmically. Waves of intense pleasure rolled through his entire body, his chest, his stomach, his thighs, even his toes. His back arched involuntarily, his free hand gripping the edge of the bathtub, his thighs trembling. "Oh God, oh God, oh God," Sienna's voice breathy and desperate. The orgasm lasted nearly a minute, far longer than anything he'd experienced as male, rolling in waves that peaked and peaked again. When it subsided, Tyler sat there gasping, his body covered in a light sheen of sweat, his fingers still inside himself. And he was still aroused. The female body was ready for more, hungry for more, like that orgasm had been an appetizer instead of the main course. Tyler stood on shaky legs and looked at himself in the mirror again. Sienna's body was flushed from orgasm, nipples hard under the thin tank top, eyes dark with arousal, lips parted, hair messy. "I should leave," he said aloud. "Should return to my own body, pretend this never happened, maybe see a therapist about consent and boundaries." But Tyler wanted to explore more. He went to Sienna's bedroom, larger than his, better decorated, with a king-sized bed that probably cost more than his car, and found her closet. It was a revelation. Tight dresses in every color, skirts that would barely cover his ass, revealing tops that would show massive cleavage, and the lingerie, oh God, the lingerie. Lacy bras and panties in black, red, white, pink, corsets, garter belts, stockings, stuff he'd only seen in porn or expensive catalogs. Tyler selected a lacy black bra and panty set. He'd never put on a bra before, struggled with the hooks, finally got it fastened. Adjusted his breasts in the cups, they sat perfectly, lifted and presented. The panties slid up his legs, settled over his hips, the lace barely covering his pussy. He looked at himself in the full-length mirror, mounted on the closet door. Sienna in expensive lingerie, curves on full display, breasts pushed up and together, waist narrow, hips wide, legs long and toned, absolutely stunning. Tyler took photos, selfies showing off the body. The lingerie, provocative poses, hand on hip, ass pushed out, lips parted. He took dozens, experimenting with angles, with expressions, with poses he'd seen in Instagram photos. Then he had an idea. Sienna had dating apps on her phone. Tyler had seen her swiping sometimes through her window when her curtains were open. He'd watched her like a creep, imagining what it would be like to have that many options, that much attention. He found her phone on the nightstand. Face ID unlocked it, her face his control. He opened Tinder. Dozens of matches, hundreds of messages. Men desperate for her attention, offering everything from dinner to worship to creative sexual acts that probably required insurance. "Holy shit," Tyler muttered, scrolling through. "This is what it's like." Every single message was thirsty. "Hey beautiful, you're gorgeous. I'd love to take you out. What are you doing tonight? Can I worship you?" Some were crude, dick pics, explicit offers. Most were just desperately eager. Tyler scrolled through, reading the thirsty messages, feeling a strange power. All these men wanted this body, wanted access to it, wanted to touch it, wanted to be chosen by it. He found one from a guy named Brad. Profile photos showed someone attractive, tall, muscular, square jaw, confident smile. His messages were different from the others, confident without being crude, flirty without being desperate. "Brad, that photo of you at the beach is incredible. You look like you're actually enjoying yourself instead of just posing for Instagram." Sienna had never responded. Tyler messaged him, "Wanna come over? I'm feeling adventurous." The response was immediate, "Fuck yes, send me your address." Tyler sent Sienna's address. His hands were shaking. This was insane. He was about to have sex with a man while possessing his neighbor's body. This was so far beyond any reasonable definition of consent that it probably violated several laws and definitely violated all ethical frameworks. But the female body was flooded with arousal. The thought of being desired, being taken, experiencing sex in this body, it overwhelmed any hesitation. Tyler prepared. He put on a tight black dress from Sienna's closet, short, low-cut, hugging every curve. Fixed her hair in the mirror, running his fingers through it until it looked artfully messy. Applied makeup. He'd never done this before, but Sienna's muscle memory seemed to guide his hands. Lipstick, eyeliner, mascara. He looked at himself in the mirror. A knockout ready for a hookup stared back. "You're really doing this," he told his reflection. "You're really going to fuck a guy." 20 minutes later, there was a knock at the door. Tyler's heart hammered in his chest. His mouth was dry, his pussy was wet. He opened the door. Brad was even better looking in person. 6'2", built like he lived in the gym, with a confident smile and eyes that immediately traveled down Tyler's body with obvious appreciation. "Damn," Brad said, "you're even more gorgeous in person. The photos don't do you justice." "Come in," Tyler said, his voice breathy. Brad stepped inside. Tyler closed the door behind him. They barely made it to the couch before Brad was kissing him. His lips were firm, aggressive, taking what he wanted. His hands roamed over Tyler's body, groping his breasts through the dress, squeezing his ass, pulling him close. Tyler pressed against Brad, feeling his erection through his jeans pressing against his stomach. His own pussy was already wet, nipples hard, body responding with an eagerness that surprised him. Brad's hands found the zipper of Tyler's dress, pulled it down. The dress fell away, leaving Tyler in just the black lingerie. "Jesus Christ," Brad breathed, looking at him, "you're perfect." He pulled Tyler onto the couch, positioned him on his lap. Kissed his neck, his collarbone, down to his cleavage. His hands unhooked the bra. He was way better at that than Tyler had been, and it fell away. Brad sucked on Tyler's nipples. The sensation made Tyler moan and arch his back, pressing his breast into Brad's mouth. Each suck, each lick, each gentle bite sent pleasure radiating through his chest and down to his pussy. "Bedroom," Tyler gasped. They stumbled to the bedroom, shedding clothes. Brad's shirt came off, revealing a muscled torso. His jeans, revealing boxer briefs that barely contained his erection. When Brad saw Tyler's completely naked body, his eyes went wide. "Jesus Christ," he breathed. Tyler lay back on the bed, spreading his legs, displaying himself. Brad positioned himself between his thighs, running his hands up Tyler's inner thighs, looking at his pussy with undisguised hunger. "You ready?" Brad asked, his cock in his hand, stroking it. Tyler looked at that cock, thick, long, hard, and felt a flutter of nervousness mixed with intense arousal. "Fuck me," Tyler said. Brad positioned himself. Tyler felt the head of his cock pressing against his entrance, warm and blunt. Then Brad pushed inside. Tyler cried out as Brad's cock penetrated him. The stretch was intense, his vagina opening around the thickness, being filled completely, deeper than his fingers had gone. It burned slightly, but the burn mixed with pleasure in a way that made his whole body clench. "Oh fuck," Tyler gasped. Brad pushed deeper, inch by inch, until he was fully inside. Tyler could feel him everywhere. The stretch, the fullness, the pressure against internal spots he'd never known existed. Brad began to thrust. Each movement stimulated sensitive spots inside Tyler's vagina. The friction against his inner walls, the pressure against his G-spot, the feeling of being claimed, filled, used. Tyler wrapped his legs around Brad's waist, angling his hips to take him deeper. His breasts bounced with each thrust. His pussy clenched around Brad's cock involuntarily, trying to pull him in deeper. "God, you feel amazing," Brad groaned. "So tight, so wet." He thrust harder, faster. The bed creaked beneath them. Tyler's moans got louder, more desperate. Tyler was building toward orgasm already. Being penetrated, being filled, experiencing sex from the receiving end, it was more intense than he'd imagined. Every nerve ending in his body seemed to be firing at once. "Don't stop," Tyler gasped. "Don't fucking stop." Brad didn't stop. He thrust deeper, harder, his cock hitting spots that made Tyler see stars. When Tyler came, the orgasm ripped through him like lightning. His vagina clamped down on Brad's cock. His back arched off the bed. His hands clutched at Brad's shoulders. He cried out, loud, shameless, desperate. The orgasm rolled through him in waves, each pulse of his vagina sending another jolt of pleasure through his entire body. Brad thrust harder. Tyler felt him swell inside, felt his cock pulse, felt the warmth as Brad came, filling him. The sensation triggered another orgasm, smaller than the first but still intense. Tyler's vagina milked Brad's cock, clenching rhythmically, trying to pull every drop from him. They collapsed together, both breathing hard, covered in sweat. "That was incredible," Brad said, kissing Tyler's neck. "You're incredible." Tyler couldn't respond. His mind was reeling. He'd just had sex with a man, while possessing a woman's body, and he'd loved every second. They had sex twice more over the next few hours. The second time, Brad took him from behind. Tyler on his hands and knees, ass in the air, Brad gripping his hips and pounding into him. The angle was different, deeper, hitting different spots. Tyler came so hard he couldn't support his weight anymore, collapsing onto the bed while Brad continued to fuck him. The third time was slower. They lay on their sides, Brad behind him, moving with long, deep strokes while his hands played with Tyler's breasts. It was almost intimate, almost like making love instead of fucking. Tyler came twice during it, soft waves of pleasure instead of explosive peaks. Finally, exhausted, Brad left. He kissed Tyler goodbye at the door, told him to text him, said they should definitely do this again. Tyler closed the door and leaned against it, legs shaky. He walked to the bathroom and looked at himself in the mirror. The body was marked from sex. Flushed skin, tousled hair, lips swollen from kissing, light bruises on his hips where Brad had gripped him. Between his legs, cum leaked from his well-used pussy, dripping down his inner thighs. Tyler should return to his own body. He'd experienced enough, violated enough boundaries, committed enough ethical violations. But he didn't want to leave. This body was incredible. The sensitivity, the pleasure, the experiences. His male body felt inadequate by comparison, numb, limited, boring. Tyler looked at his hand, Sienna's delicate feminine hand. In his apartment, his real body was still holding the stone. He could feel it somewhere in the back of his consciousness, the warmth, the connection, the tether keeping him here. The note had said effects, lasted until the stone was released. What if he didn't release it? Tyler spent the rest of the night in Sienna's body. He showered, savoring the sensation of water on sensitive skin, the way it felt on his breasts, his nipples, his pussy. He washed himself thoroughly, explored himself more, slipped fingers inside and made himself come again in the shower, one hand braced against the tile wall. The body could orgasm seemingly endlessly. He'd lost count of how many times. Each one was intense, satisfying, leaving him hungry for more after only minutes of recovery. He dried off with a fluffy towel. Sienna had nice towels, so much better than his threadbare scratchy ones, and explored her apartment more thoroughly. He read her messages on social media. Dozens of men sliding into her DMs with everything from sincere compliments to crude propositions. Women commenting on her photos, mostly positive but with occasional cattiness. He looked through her photos. Sienna at the beach in a bikini. Sienna at parties in tight dresses. Sienna doing yoga in poses that showed her flexibility. Hundreds of photos, all gorgeous, all designed to attract attention. He learned about her. She was 23, worked as a yoga instructor at a studio downtown, had an active social life full of clubs and parties and events. She had lots of admirers, both male and female. Her life seemed perfect from the outside, beautiful, desired, living the kind of life Tyler had only fantasized about. Tyler could stay in this body, live as Sienna, experience everything she experienced. But eventually, he'd have to return. Sienna would wake up confused about the missing time, and Tyler would be back in his own inadequate male body, stuck in his inadequate male life. Unless Tyler had an idea. What if Sienna wanted this? What if she wanted to swap bodies permanently? Maybe she was tired of being objectified. Maybe she wanted to experience life differently. Maybe she'd welcome the opportunity to be someone else. It was a long shot, insane, impossible. But Tyler couldn't let go of the thought. The next morning, Tyler released the stone. His consciousness snapped back to his own body like a rubber band. He was standing in his apartment exactly where he'd been, the obsidian stone in his hand. Tyler felt the loss immediately. Back to being male, back to his average body, back to being ordinary Tyler Brooks instead of extraordinary Sienna. His chest felt flat, his body felt numb, his cock felt like a poor substitute for what he'd just experienced. He needed the stone again, needed to be Sienna again. But first, he needed to know if she'd noticed anything. Tyler listened at the wall separating their apartments, heard Sienna moving around, talking on the phone, her voice cheerful. "Yeah, I slept great, I feel amazing actually, super rested." No confusion, no distress, no indication she'd noticed the missing time. Maybe the possession had made her sleep through it, or maybe her consciousness had been completely suppressed, leaving no memory of the gap. Tyler couldn't resist. He held the stone and thought about Sienna. The transition was instant. He was in her body again, standing in her kitchen. The sensation of having breasts, having a pussy, having this incredible body, it was just as intense as before. Like coming home after a long trip. Sienna had been making breakfast, eggs and toast. Tyler continued, enjoying the simple act of moving in this body, the sway of his hips, the bounce of his breasts, the way his hair moved. Everything felt right in a way his own body never had. Over the following weeks, Tyler developed a pattern. He'd possess Sienna whenever he could. Live her life, experience her body, have incredible sex with various men. He became a regular on her Tinder, meeting guys at her apartment, at hotels, in club bathrooms. He experienced every position, every kink, every pleasure the female body could offer. He'd return to his own body only when necessary. For work, for appearances, to maintain the fiction that Tyler Brooks still existed as an independent person. But his time as Sienna felt more real, more satisfying. His time as male felt like an uncomfortable intermission between acts of a play. Tyler started taking risks. He'd possess Sienna and keep her body for days at a time. Living her full life, going to her yoga instruction job, maintaining her relationships, responding to her messages. Sienna never seemed to notice the missing time. The possession was seamless. Whatever happened to her consciousness when Tyler took over, it left no traces. He got better at being her, learned her mannerisms, her speech patterns, her relationships. He could maintain conversations with her friends, teach her yoga classes, navigate her life so smoothly that nobody suspected anything was wrong. Tyler was becoming Sienna more than he was being Tyler. One night, while possessing Sienna, Tyler had an encounter that changed everything. He was at a club downtown, one of Sienna's regular spots, dancing in a short dress that showed everything, enjoying the attention from men who bought him drinks and tried to grind against him on the dance floor. A woman approached, attractive late 20s, with an intense gaze that seemed to see through him. "I know what you are," she said, her voice low enough to be heard only over the music. Tyler's heart raced. "What?" "You're not Sienna, you're someone else possessing her body." Tyler's blood ran cold. "I don't know what you're talking about." The woman smiled. "I can see the stone's magic on you, like a second aura layered over hers. I'm a practitioner myself, and I have a proposition." She introduced herself as Morgana, probably not her real name, and suggested they go somewhere quieter to talk. They ended up in a booth at the back of the club, where Morgana explained she had access to more powerful magic. Spells that could make possession permanent, that could swap two people's souls completely. "Sienna's consciousness is dormant when you possess her," Morgana explained. "Suppressed by the stone's magic, but I can wake her. Let her experience what you've been doing, and if she agrees, I can make the swap permanent." "Why would she agree?" Tyler asked. Morgana shrugged. "Because maybe she's tired of being objectified for her body. Maybe she'd prefer to be male, to have different experiences, to move through the world differently. Maybe she'd welcome the swap, or maybe she wouldn't, but don't you think she deserves the choice?" It was insane, but Tyler was desperate to stay in this body permanently. "What do I have to do?" he asked. "Bring the stone, meet me tomorrow night, and be prepared for her to say no." The ritual was complex. Morgana's apartment was filled with occult paraphernalia: crystals, candles, books in languages Tyler didn't recognize. She drew a circle on the floor in chalk, placed the obsidian stone in the center, and had Tyler sit cross-legged beside it. "This will wake her consciousness while you're still in control," Morgana explained. "You'll both be in the body simultaneously. You can communicate with each other, and then she can decide. And if she says no, then you leave her body and never possess her again, and I'll make sure the stone can't be used on her anymore. And if she says yes, then I perform the permanent swap. Your soul takes her body, her soul takes yours, complete and irreversible." Tyler took a deep breath. "Do it." Morgana began chanting. The stone grew warm, then hot, then burning. The air in the room seemed to thicken. Suddenly, Tyler felt another presence in the body. Sienna's awareness, confused and frightened, pressing against his consciousness. "What's happening? Where am I?" Her voice in his head, her thoughts, separate from his but occupying the same mental space. Tyler explained everything: the possession, the stone, the experiences, the proposal. "You've been using my body?" Her mental voice was shocked. "Having sex in my body?" "Yes, I'm sorry, I know it's wrong, but I'm offering you a choice now. We can swap permanently. You become male, I stay female. You'd have freedom from the constant objectification, the unwanted attention, the feeling of always being reduced to your appearance. I'd have this body, this life, I'd take care of it." "Why would I want to be male?" "Think about it. No more creepy messages. No more guys staring at your tits while pretending to listen to what you're saying. No more being followed home from the gym. No more having to calculate safety in every decision. You could move through the world differently. And honestly, being male is easier in a lot of ways. Not better necessarily, but different. Simpler." Sienna's consciousness was quiet for a long moment. "I've been drugged before," she finally thought. "At parties. I wake up not remembering things, feeling like time passed but not knowing what happened. I thought that's what was happening during the blackouts." "It was me, I'm sorry." "You're sorry," her mental voice turned sharp. "You violated me, used my body for sex, and you think saying sorry makes that okay." "No, nothing makes it okay, I know that, but I'm offering you a way out, a new life, different experiences. And I'll take care of this body, this life. I'll be you better than you could be." "That's a fucked up thing to say." "Maybe, but is it wrong?" More silence. "Then show me what you've experienced in my body." Tyler shared the memories. Not just the sex, though there was a lot of that, but everything. The pleasure of orgasms that lasted minutes instead of seconds. The power of being desired. The freedom of moving through the world as someone beautiful. The experiences he'd had in her body. Oh my God, Sienna's mental voice was breathless. You enjoyed it. More than anything in my life, this body is incredible, and I'd treat it right. I'd appreciate it in ways you can't because you've always had it. And you really think being male is better? Different, not better. But yes, in some ways, you wouldn't have to worry about being overpowered. Wouldn't have to calculate which routes are safe to walk at night. Wouldn't have to deal with periods or pregnancy scares or the constant male gaze. You just exist, without all the extra weight that comes with being female and attractive. Sienna's consciousness considered this for a long time. I never asked to look like this, she finally thought. Never wanted the constant attention. I just wanted to be a person, not a body that happens to have a person attached to it. So swap with me, let me be the body, you be the person. This is insane. I know. But you're right, I'm tired. I'm so fucking tired of it all. So let's do it. Another long pause. Then, okay, let's do it, swap us permanently. Morgana performed the ritual. It took hours, complex spells in languages Tyler didn't know. The stone's power amplified and redirected, glowing so bright it hurt to look at. Souls being separated and swapped, consciousness being transferred. Tyler felt himself being pulled apart and put back together. His sense of self fragmenting, then reassembling in a new configuration. When it finished, Tyler was still in the female body. But now it was his completely. His soul, his identity, fully integrated. No more tether to his original body. No more temporary possession. This was permanent. And Sienna was in Tyler's male body across the hall. They met the next day in the hallway between their apartments. Sienna, now male, looked strange in Tyler's body. But she was smiling, running her hands through short hair, looking down at a flat chest and narrow hips like they were gifts. This is weird, she said in Tyler's voice. But also, liberating. I put on jeans and a t-shirt this morning and nobody stared. I walked to the coffee shop and nobody catcalled me. Nobody looked at my chest while pretending to look at my face. It's amazing. And you're okay with this? Tyler asked in Sienna's soft, raspy voice. It's permanent, no take-backs. I know, and yeah, I'm okay, more than okay. I never asked to be that attractive. Never wanted the constant attention, the feeling of always being on display. This is better, I can just exist. Tyler smiled, Sienna's full lips curving up. Then welcome to your new life. You too, Sienna. Because that's who Tyler was now, permanently, completely, irreversibly. Sienna. She looked down at her body, breasts pushing against her shirt, hips curving out from her waist, everything female and real and hers. This was her life now, her body, her identity, her future. And Sienna couldn't wait to experience everything it offered. She went back to her apartment, looked at herself in the mirror, and smiled. The woman staring back was beautiful, confident, and finally in the right body. Finally home. 6 months later. Sienna, the new Sienna, formerly Tyler, stood in front of her bathroom mirror applying mascara with the kind of precision that would have seemed impossible 6 months ago. Now it was muscle memory. Sienna's muscle memory, technically, but hers nonetheless. Her phone buzzed, text from the old Sienna, now living as Tyler Brooks. Tyler, dude, I just fixed my own car. With MY hands. No crying, no calling AAA, just me and a socket wrench. This is amazing. Sienna laughed and typed back with her free hand, careful not to smudge her eyeliner. Sienna, congratulations on discovering the joy of upper body strength. How's the dating life? Tyler, weirdly difficult? Apparently women expect you to be interesting and attractive. Who knew? Also, having to initiate everything is exhausting. How did you deal with this? Sienna, I didn't, hence the swap. Speaking of dating, I've got a thing tonight. Tyler, another one. What is that, the 4th this week? Sienna, 5th, don't judge me. This body has needs. Tyler, trust me, I remember. I also remember you being the one receiving all those needs. Be careful out there. Sienna, yes, Dad. Tyler, fuck you. Also, we still on for lunch tomorrow. Sienna, absolutely. The usual place. Tyler, perfect. try not to get pregnant. Sienna, try not to develop a beer gut. She put down her phone and finished her makeup. Tonight was a date with a guy named Marcus, successful, attractive, and based on their text conversations, actually capable of holding an intelligent conversation. Low bar, she'd discovered, but an important one. 6 months into being Sienna permanently, and life was complicated. Better than being Tyler, absolutely, but not without its challenges. The date went well. Marcus was charming, bought expensive wine, made her laugh. They ended up back at her apartment, which had become routine enough that Sienna kept a box of condoms in the nightstand drawer and a bag of emergency contraceptives in the bathroom cabinet. Sex with Marcus was good. He actually cared about her pleasure, which put him in maybe the top 20% of her experiences. They went 2 rounds before he left around midnight, promising to text her tomorrow. Sienna lay in bed afterward, pleasantly sore, and checked her phone. Message from Morgana. How's the permanent arrangement working out? Sienna typed back, no regrets, you. Morgana, I don't do regrets. Bad for the complexion. Coffee next week. Sienna, definitely. Morgana had become something like a friend. Or at least a witch-adjacent acquaintance who understood the particular weirdness of having swapped bodies with someone. Another message, this one from Brad, her first hookup in Sienna's body, now a semi-regular thing. Brad, you around this weekend? I'm thinking we could revisit that thing you did with your tongue. Sienna grinned. Sienna, I'm going to need you to be more specific. I do a lot of things with my tongue. Brad, all of them. Let's revisit all of them. Sienna, tempting. I'll check my schedule and let you know. She put down her phone and stretched. Her body felt good, relaxed, satisfied, completely hers. This was the part nobody warned you about when you magically swapped bodies with someone. The logistics. Lunch with Tyler the next day was at a diner halfway between their apartments. They'd started meeting regularly about a month after the swap, initially to make sure neither of them was having a complete breakdown, but it had evolved into something like friendship. Tyler arrived first, sitting in a corner booth and looking uncomfortable in jeans and a flannel shirt. 6 months of being male hadn't made him comfortable with the whole taking up space thing yet. You look good, Sienna said, sliding into the booth across from him. Tyler snorted. I look like I'm cosplaying as a lumberjack. I still don't understand male fashion. It's all just variations of shirt and pants. Welcome to simplicity. Enjoy it while it lasts. Easy for you to say. You're wearing what, $1,000 worth of clothes? Sienna looked down at her outfit, designer jeans, silk blouse, leather jacket. $1,200 actually. Sienna had good taste. Sienna is you now. You can stop talking about yourself in third person. Force of habit, Sienna picked up a menu she didn't need. So, how's work? Tyler worked in it now, had taken an online certification course, and landed a job that paid better than insurance data entry. It's fine. Boring but fine. Turns out people take you more seriously when you're male. I suggested the exact same solution to a problem last week that I'd suggested as Sienna, and suddenly it was a brilliant idea instead of something to be ignored. The patriarchy works in mysterious ways. Tell me about it. I'm benefiting from it now, and I still think it's bullshit. Tyler paused. Although I did get invited to poker night with the guys from work, which would have never happened before. That was cool. See, not all bad. No, not all bad, just weird. Tyler leaned back. What about you, still teaching yoga? 3 classes a week. The rest of the time, I'm basically a professional dater. How's that going? Sienna considered. It's interesting. I thought being hot would make everything easy, but it's more like being hot makes everything available, which is different. I have infinite options, but most of them are terrible. Welcome to being an attractive woman. It's a target-rich environment where 90% of the targets are duds. Exactly. Like, I went on a date last week with a guy who spent the entire dinner talking about his crypto portfolio. Another guy couldn't maintain eye contact with my face for more than 3 seconds because he was too busy staring at my tits. Did you call him out on it? No, I just let him keep staring while I ate my expensive meal and then blocked his number. Why waste the energy? Tyler laughed. You've really leaned into the whole use your attractiveness for free food thing. Damn right, if men want to throw money at this body, who am I to stop them? Sienna grinned. Although I did meet someone interesting last night. Marcus. Older, successful, actually listens when I talk. Are you going to see him again? Maybe, probably, I don't know. I'm not really looking for anything serious. Why not? Sienna shrugged. Because serious means explaining things eventually. And how do I explain that I used to be a 26-year-old male virgin who stole someone's body? That's not exactly first date material. Fair point, Tyler paused. Do you ever feel guilty? About the body swap? Every day. But then I remember that you're happier, I'm happier, and the original arrangement was basically me violating you repeatedly, so the guilt gets complicated. Yeah, complicated is one word for it. They ordered food. Sienna got a salad because she'd learned that maintaining this body required constant vigilance. Tyler got a burger because he was still reveling in the ability to eat whatever he wanted without immediate consequences. Can I ask you something? Tyler said after the waitress left. Shoot. Do you ever miss being male? Sienna thought about it. Sometimes, I miss peeing standing up. I miss not having to worry about periods or pregnancy. I miss the simplicity of male arousal, point and shoot, done in 5 minutes. But overall, no, this is better. Even with all the bullshit that comes with it. Even with all the bullshit, because the bullshit is at least interesting. Being Tyler was just boring, boring body, boring life, boring everything. At least now I'm bored in a hot body with good orgasms. Tyler laughed. That's a hell of an epitaph. Here lies Sienna, bored but hot. I can live with that. After lunch, Sienna walked back to her apartment. It was a nice day, sunny, and she enjoyed the walk despite, or maybe because of, the attention it generated. Men stared, some tried to hide it, others didn't bother. One guy actually walked into a parking meter while watching her pass. Sienna smirked. This was the thing about being hot. It was simultaneously empowering and objectifying. She had power over these men. They wanted her, desired her, would do stupid things for a chance with her. But they also reduced her to her body, to her appearance, to the sum of her sexual parts. 6 months ago, Tyler would have found this deeply problematic. Now, Sienna mostly found it amusing. Back at her apartment, she changed into yoga pants and a sports bra for her evening class. Teaching yoga had been challenging at first. Tyler had never done yoga, had barely exercised. But Sienna's body knew the poses, knew the movements, and her consciousness had learned to follow. Plus, it paid well. Yoga instructors who looked like her could charge premium rates. The class was packed, as usual. Mostly women, a few brave men. Sienna led them through the poses, her voice calm and measured, while internally she was thinking about what to have for dinner and whether Marcus was worth a second date. After class, one of the students approached, a woman named Jessica who'd been coming for a few weeks. Sienna, do you have a minute? Sure, what's up? Jessica shifted awkwardly. This is going to sound weird, but would you want to grab coffee sometime? As friends, I mean, you seem really cool and I just moved to the city and don't know many people. Sienna smiled. This happened occasionally. Women wanting to be her friend, probably hoping some of her attractiveness would rub off or attract men in her vicinity. Yeah, that sounds great. Give me your number and we'll set something up. They exchanged numbers. Jessica left looking pleased. Sienna felt a small pang of something, guilt, maybe, or loneliness. She had acquaintances but no real friends. Tyler, the new Tyler, was the closest thing, and that relationship was too weird to count as normal friendship. Everyone else in her life knew her as Sienna, the impossibly attractive yoga instructor. They didn't know about Tyler, about the swap, about any of it. Sometimes she wondered what it would be like to tell someone, to have a real connection based on honesty instead of performance. But that was a problem for future Sienna. Present Sienna had a date tomorrow night and needed to figure out what to wear. The date with Marcus went well enough that it turned into a second date, then a third, then a regular thing. Marcus was different from her usual hookups. Older, late 30s, and established. He owned a marketing firm, had a nice apartment in a better part of town, and treated dating like a recreational activity rather than a desperate search for validation. You're not like other women I've dated, he said one night after sex, lying in his expensive sheets. Sienna tensed. How so? You're honest. You don't play games, don't pretend to be something you're not. It's refreshing. If only he knew how ironic that statement was. I try, Sienna said carefully. Most women I date are either too available or too aloof. You're just present, it's nice. Sienna propped herself up on one elbow. What are we doing here, Marcus? What do you mean? I mean, is this just sex? Are we dating? Are we heading somewhere specific? Marcus considered. Do you want it to be heading somewhere specific? I don't know. I'm not really the relationship type. Why not? Because relationships require honesty, and I'm not sure I'm capable of that level of honesty with anyone. Marcus laughed. That's the most honest thing I've heard all week. Okay, how about this? We keep doing what we're doing, no expectations, no pressure, and if it evolves into something more, great. If not, also great. You're okay with that? Sienna, I'm 38. I've done the whole serious relationship thing. It ended in a divorce that cost me half my assets and 3 years of therapy. I'm fine with casual. Okay then, casual it is. They had sex again, and Sienna went home feeling oddly satisfied. Tyler, I kissed someone. The text came at 2 a.m., waking Sienna from a dead sleep. Sienna, congratulations. Why are you texting me at 2 a.m. about this? Tyler, because it was a woman and it was weird and I need to talk about it. Sienna, call me. Her phone rang immediately. Okay, talk, Sienna said, her voice thick with sleep. Her name is Rachel, Tyler said, talking fast. We met at a coffee shop, we've been hanging out, and tonight we kissed and it was so weird. Weird how? Weird like I'm used to being the one being kissed, not the one doing the kissing. I didn't know what to do with my hands, or my tongue, or my facial hair, which apparently is scratchy. She told me I need to shave better. Sienna laughed. Welcome to dating as a man. It's confusing and nobody tells you what you're doing wrong until you've already done it. How did you deal with this as Tyler? I didn't. I was terrible at it. Hence the virginity and complete lack of dating success. Great, so I'm doomed. Not doomed, just learning. Did she seem into it despite your incompetence? I think so. She agreed to see me again. But what if I mess it up? What if I'm terrible at this? Then you'll be terrible at it and you'll learn and get better. That's how it works. Sienna paused. Are you freaking out because of the kissing or because you're actually starting to like this person? Silence. Both, Tyler finally admitted. I like her, like really like her. And that's terrifying because what if she finds out about the body swap? What if she learns I used to be female? What if? Stop, Sienna interrupted. You're spiraling. First of all, she doesn't need to know about the swap. Ever. Second, you were never female. You were Tyler, a male consciousness in a female body. Now you're Tyler, a male consciousness in a male body. You're more yourself now than you ever were. That's a really generous interpretation. It's the correct interpretation. And third, you deserve to be happy. If this Rachel person makes you happy, pursue it. Don't self-sabotage because of guilt or fear or whatever. Another pause. Thanks, Tyler said quietly. Anytime, now can I go back to sleep? Yeah, sorry for waking you. It's fine, and Tyler, I'm happy for you. Thanks, Sienna, same to you, with Marcus and whoever else you're juggling. I'm not juggling anyone, I'm exploring my options. Right, exploring, very different. Fuck you. Fuck you too, good night. Sienna hung up and lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Tyler was moving on, building a new life, finding happiness in his new body. Sienna was happy for him, genuinely happy, but also a little jealous, because Tyler was building something real while Sienna was just existing, having fun, absolutely, enjoying the body, the sex, the experiences, but not building anything that would last. She fell asleep thinking about Marcus and whether casual was really what she wanted. 3 months later, Sienna and Tyler met for their regular lunch. Tyler looked different, happier, more comfortable in his skin. He'd grown a beard, well-maintained, actually attractive, and had put on some muscle. You look good, Sienna said. Rachel's been taking me to the gym. Apparently, I need to maintain this physique or lose it entirely. There's no middle ground with male bodies. How are things with Rachel? Good, really good, we're official now. Like, she changed her Facebook status and everything. Wow, Facebook official, that's serious. Don't mock me, I'm new to this. Tyler paused. I told her I loved her. Sienna's eyebrows went up, and she said it back. And then we had sex, which was good, but also terrifying because now the sex means something. Welcome to emotional intimacy. It's awful and wonderful. What about you and Marcus? Sienna shrugged, still casual, still good. You don't sound convinced. I don't know, it's fine, he's great, the sex is good. But sometimes I think about what it would be like to have what you have with Rachel, something real. So why don't you? Because real requires honesty, and I can't be honest about who I am. You could be honest about who you are now. You don't have to tell him about the swap. But that's a pretty big thing to not tell someone. Tyler leaned back. Okay, here's the thing. I've been thinking about this a lot. The swap happened. It's done, but it's also in the past. You are Sienna now, not Tyler pretending to be Sienna, not Tyler in Sienna's body. Just Sienna, that's your reality, that's your truth. Everything before that is just backstory. That's a hell of a rationalization. Maybe, but it's also accurate. You're not lying about who you are, you're just not sharing every detail of your history. Everyone does that. Sienna considered this. When did you get so wise? When I stopped trying to figure out who I used to be and started focusing on who I am now. Tyler smiled. Rachel knows I'm trans, by the way. Sienna nearly choked on her water. What? I told her I'm trans, female to male, transitioned a few years ago. It explains the whole, everything, and it's not technically a lie. That's actually brilliant. I thought so. She was completely cool with it. Said it didn't matter, she likes who I am now. And honestly, it felt good to tell her something true, even if it wasn't the whole truth. Sienna sat back, processing this. I could tell Marcus I'm trans, male to female. You could. It would explain any quirks, any moments where you don't quite fit the expected female pattern. And it's close enough to the truth that you wouldn't be completely lying. Hi. They finished lunch, talking about other things, work, friends, the weird weather. But Sienna's mind was elsewhere. That night, in bed with Marcus after sex, Sienna decided to take the plunge. I need to tell you something, she said. Marcus propped himself up. Okay, should I be worried? No, maybe, I don't know. Sienna took a breath. I'm trans, male to female. I transitioned about 7 years ago. She watched Marcus's face carefully. He looked surprised, but not upset. Okay, he said slowly. Thanks for telling me. That's it, just okay. What else should I say? It doesn't change anything. You're still you, still the same person I've been dating. You're not weirded out. Why would I be? Sienna, I've dated all kinds of people. Trans, cis, everything in between. Your history doesn't bother me. Who you are now is what matters. He paused. Is this why you've been keeping things casual? Because you thought I'd react badly? Partially. Well, I'm not reacting badly. And if you want this to be more than casual, I'm open to that. Sienna felt something loosen in her chest. Really? Really, I like you, a lot. And I'd like to see where this goes if you're interested. I'm interested. They kissed and it felt different, more real, more connected. Later, lying in Marcus's arms, Sienna felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. 6 months after that conversation, Sienna and Tyler met for lunch again. Both of them looked different. Tyler was more muscular, beard properly maintained, wearing clothes that actually fit. Sienna was softer somehow, still gorgeous, but less performatively so, more comfortable. Rachel and I are moving in together, Tyler announced. That's huge, congratulations. Thanks, I'm terrified but also excited. It feels right. Tyler paused. What about you and Marcus? We're good, really good. He asked me to go to his company's holiday party as his official girlfriend. And you said yes. I said yes, which is weird, right? Me in a relationship, actually caring about someone. Not weird, gross. They ordered food, both of them getting burgers now, Sienna having given up on the constant salad thing. Do you ever regret it? Tyler asked. The swap. Sienna thought about it, really thought about it. No, she finally said. Not even a little, do you? Not even a little. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. We're lucky, Sienna said. Most people don't get a second chance at life. We got to completely restart. With magic and body swapping and probable violations of several natural laws. Well, yeah, but still, lucky. Tyler raised his glass. To magic, body swapping, and violations of natural laws. Sienna clinked her glass against his, and to figuring out who the hell we are. I thought we weren't doing self-discovery journeys. We're not. We're just existing and occasionally stumbling into personal growth by accident. That's better, I can live with that. They drank, ate their burgers, and talked about their lives. Not their past lives, not who they used to be, just who they were now. Sienna went home that night, climbed into bed next to Marcus, and felt content. The obsidian stone sat in a box in her closet, wrapped in cloth. She hadn't touched it in months, didn't need to. She was exactly where she was supposed to be. Finally. Epilogue. 1 year later, Morgana threw a party. Consider it a celebration, she'd said when she invited them. 1 year of successful body swapping with no catastrophic consequences. That's worth celebrating in my line of work. The party was at her apartment, filled with people who all seemed to operate in the same magical adjacent circles. Sienna recognized a few practitioners, collectors, people who dealt in the weird and wonderful. Tyler came with Rachel, who dressed him in an actual button-down shirt and looked proud of her accomplishment. Sienna came with Marcus, who was handling the whole party full of witches and occultists, thing surprisingly well. So you're the famous body swappers, a woman said, approaching them. She looked about 60, with sharp eyes and a knowing smile. Guilty, Sienna said. How's it working out? Pretty well, all things considered. No side effects, no magical complications. None that we've noticed. The woman nodded approvingly. Morgana does good work. I've seen a lot of body swaps go wrong. Yours seems clean. Thanks, Tyler said uncertainly. The woman laughed and moved on to talk to someone else. This is weird, Rachel whispered to Tyler. You have no idea, Tyler whispered back. Marcus leaned close to Sienna. So this is all real, magic and body swapping and all of it. Very real. Huh, well, that explains a lot about you, actually. It does. Yeah, the way you move sometimes, like you're still getting used to your body. The way you react to things like you're experiencing them for the first time. It all makes sense now. Sienna kissed him. You're taking this very well. I've learned not to question the weird. It's easier that way. Later, Morgana pulled Sienna aside. How are you really doing? She asked. Honestly, great, better than I've ever been. No regrets. Not about the swap, some about how it happened, but not about the result. Morgana nodded. Good, and your friend. They both looked at Tyler, who was laughing at something Rachel said, looking genuinely happy. He's good too, really good. Then I consider this a successful magical intervention. You both got what you needed. We did, thank you for that. Thank you for not making it my problem when it inevitably went wrong, which it didn't somehow. You're both remarkably well adjusted for people who swapped bodies with magic. Sienna laughed, low bar. Very low bar, but you cleared it. As the party continued, Sienna found herself thinking about the past year. The transformation, not just physical but mental. From Tyler, lonely and desperate, to Sienna, confident and connected. It hadn't been easy. There had been moments of doubt, moments of guilt, moments of wondering if she'd made a terrible mistake. But standing here, with Marcus's hand in hers, watching Tyler laugh with Rachel, surrounded by people who understood the strange reality they'd created. This was right. She caught Tyler's eye across the room. He raised his glass in a silent toast. She raised hers back. To magic, to second chances, to being exactly who they were supposed to be. Finally,